All right, guys. So today we're sitting in a 2018 Chrysler 300. Now, the display unit in these things, this one doesn't have the nav, and I kind of really wanted the nav, but it's a stupid extra price to add it. It's not really coming by default anymore because they don't like to update the maps. The dealer wouldn't even update the maps for me in my last one. So everyone's just recommending, hey, use the CarPlay and the Apple and stuff. So anyway, I don't like the extra wires, so I'm considering an upgrade, but that's not the point of this video. The point is, so this is a software system that we are locked out of, right? But it can take in external inputs through a built-in cellular modem. Now, we all know with the phone thing, they can track wherever you go because of this, your car or the phone in your pocket is connecting to all these towers. So they can, if they wanted to, they could put a map together of all the locations you've been. Your phone is leaking info like all the time just by having it on. I don't know why they haven't talked about it, but your car has a built-in cell modem, and I'm sure that it's doing the same thing. It's probably constantly connecting to things. This isn't documented much. There's not a lot of info that just describes these things. So if we go to settings and let's see, oh no, if we go to apps and then we go to Wi-Fi hotspot, we can see that my car right now has a 4G connection and it has several buttons. And it's saying, the Wi-Fi hotspot shares the vehicle's built-in cellular connection with your portable device. That's right. Okay. I don't want my car to receive any external inputs. Now, if you go to the job boards and you search for reverse engineering jobs, and I'm a reverse engineer, albeit not in this exact thing, you'll find in a lot of job postings more and more that are talking about like IoT devices, embedded systems. They're looking for people to reverse these proprietary systems and get in there, right? And there's a lot of jobs for like vulnerability development and finding exploits and stuff like that. And stuff like this is hot commodity. Like if there was a way, and there's already been researchers who have proved this, that, they could break into a car's infotainment system and then control other aspects of the car. And these cars have built in, when you do your hands-free calling, how are you doing that? You're doing that through a microphone, right, and a speaker. So all of these things are connected to your infotainment system. And the infotainment system has remote network capabilities. And we don't know what's going on there. Like, all this is a closed system. I don't want, it's just a ridiculous, stupid thing. Your car is a private space. Your life depends on this machine working properly and nobody messing with it. And I can't trust all the engineering designs that went into it because I don't know what they are. And, I just don't trust it. So what I want to do is I'm going to pop this out and, so on the scale of scenarios here, right? First, I take it out and I inspect it and I identify the chips and stuff like that. Now, I mean, this is my daily driver. I kind of need it. So, and I don't have an extra one yet because it's like one with nav. I think I can pick up for like $1,300 or $1,400. I don't think I'm going to be breaking this one, but it is a possibility on some of the things that I want to do. So, maybe I should take this out. I've already had it out before. There's certain things that I've already tried, right? I've already tried removing the antenna completely and then coming back here and looking at my 4G connection. I still get bars. Not all the time. It's much weaker, but I still get bars. I tried a little stub antenna, that was just like a resistor. And there's a device out there, that you can buy. And I actually bought it. It was like $50, and it was some of these consoles. If you don't have the antenna plugged in, it'll give you an error saying 911 assist not available, and you have to clear it every single time because it also has like an assist button and an SOS, right? So this thing can dial out. I'm not opposed to those kinds of features, but I want to switch. Like I I just don't trust that this thing isn't leaking information on me, or that people can't get in, or just the fact that it's leaking my location data everywhere I drive. None of that is acceptable in today's day and age. It's a privacy nightmare. Like it's not a great idea. Um, so um, we're gonna pop this out. We're going to inspect it, take it apart, see if we can find the Wi-Fi. I believe it's on a daughter board. I'm going to identify the chip, the pin connections, and there's a couple things we can try. I can desolder the child board and pull it out, in which case I have no more Wi-Fi hotspot. Fuck you all. Will the drivers handle that? We don't know. Will it break anything physically if it's missing? I doubt it. I had one of these. My last one was a 2013 Chrysler, and the Bluetooth module went bad. And the Bluetooth module, again, is embedded into the infotainment unit. And everything still worked except for the Bluetooth. So just because a component died, the system was able to keep running. So there is redundancies in there. So, the chance of the drivers, the chance of the infotainment system, and it's basically Linux, right? It's QNX, an encrypted file system. There are people who've done research on aspects of this. So the two things that I want to do is, one, I want to find a way to completely disable the cell modem. And if that entails desoldering it, I'm fine with that. The other thing I'm kind of curious about, and it's kind of the next level, would be to put some kind of sniffer on the data lines, on the send and receive lines of the cell modem. I don't necessarily need to know what's going through there on my first pass, but I would like to know if there's activity. Is something on my car talking over the cell network and accepting data back? Because that's something I'd want to know. I'm not too cool with that. I can't trust that. I mean, what about a Windows update that all of a sudden freezes your computer or shuts down and stuff? I mean, how are they sure that when you're driving, you know what else is interesting? Right on that exact topic, actually. So this has a crash in it. If I go to reverse too quickly after turning on the car, the backup camera won't come on, and it won't come on like that entire day of driving around. And whether I turn the car on or off, blah blah blah. So what I remember reading in one of the documents is these have different power off modes. So that does not shut down completely when you turn off the car. It takes like another hour or something for it to shut down completely. And I don't know if that's to minimize boot time so that it's just automatically popped up. But if I was looking for a time to do communications with a base server or to download updates, you want the car to be immobile. Like, you want the car to be, not in use. And you would want it to be a good, stable connection. So when the car's typically off, like the engine's off, what could be happening in the background, and what it would actually be a perfect time for, is for it to be assessing cell strength signal, determining if it has to download any updates, and downloading and applying those updates. Because the user's not in the car, the user's not using it, you have a static signal, static location, you're not switching between towers. That would be a smart time to do those kinds of operations. So anyway, though they're kind of some of my thoughts on the matter. And I've worked as a reverse engineer for a long time, and I just don't trust the security of these things. I don't trust their engineering design. And again, I don't know any of it. I just have seen enough crap that I think that that's a ridiculous, stupid feature, and I want to thwart it. Maybe expose it. Step one, and there's videos on how to do this. Don't take mine as the only one, watch several. But the first layer is everything is just in these clips. So you just kind of grab on and give it kind of tugs, and eventually one will pop loose, and then you can keep going. And this one has like a bunch of clips all the way around, even on the inside. So you have to be kind of careful when you're giving these things tugs, but That gets all of that out of there. And now we need a Phillips screwdriver to get the actual unit itself out. Here we go. So here is the connections that we have in the back. We have a bunch of these FARCA connectors, and I had them all. Somewhere I have a documentation on what each of them is. There's like radio, there's XM antenna, there's cell antenna that has its own one. I believe it's this one, but I don't remember yeah, that must be it. No, wait. I don't know if that's my sticker piece of tape or not. But anyway, and then remember that this controls like my power seats, or not my power seats, my heated seats, my vented seats, my heated steering wheel. Has a backup camera feed. Like this is the only system to control like my if I put my defroster on and stuff like that. So this head unit controls a lot of stuff. So we need it to operate still. Like we can't hose with it too hard. And here is the number sheet on this one. Hopefully there is, yeah, that serial number might identify me. All right, so we're gonna get those out and get it on the bench. Look at me, I'm such a good boy. I marked these last time I was in there. So that's our XM, that's our radio, and here's our cell signal. All right, so bench time. All right, now looking at this is all a solid die cast case. Now there are screws, and those look like they're probably going to be holding down the component boards. And it looks like everything is going to come from the top. And we can see that they have these, like these are spring clip tabs. That's why they're cut that way. And we can see that some of those parts on the castings have been highlighted in a blue. So those are going to be the retainer clips for the touch screen, and then that'll give us access to everything below it. It looks like. Theory is. All right, so taking off that front bezel, it was not the right initial move to get us inside. And it didn't actually come off all the way anyway. There's a wire going to it. There's some little sensor embedded. You can just see this little bit of glass right here. So I don't know what that is yet. Might take that off and look at part numbers a little more closely. So it turns out that it was a two-piece case, and it was just that the one piece was inset into the ridge all the way around, so it wasn't immediately obvious. And there were 6 long screws from the back. They're all the same length, and 6 standoffs. So, and then to separate the 2 boards, there was a long strip connector here, another one here, and then we had this little wire that goes on to a socket on the board over here. So we just had to kind of slowly work that top board off. And additionally, there's something attached to the side of the case here that we'll take a closer look at in a minute. So we have, I don't know what any of these boards are yet. I have to start looking up components and seeing what's what. This is probably the Linux board and touchscreen driver would be my guess. So we'll keep searching. So here is the Sierra Wireless AirPrime chip. This is the cell signal. It has actually all 3 antennas going to it. So there's 3 of the antenna connectors, and they all went to this. This is the device that was over onto the side of the case there. It's in its own metal carrier, and it has the compound, heatsink compound, where it was using the entire case as a heatsink. We undid the ribbon cable and popped out the 3 antennas. So I'm tempted to put this back together minus this and see if the device runs and see if we get any error codes or anything. So, I mean, we were able to remove this without any soldering or anything. So I think that's what I'm going to do next. See how she goes. Given that this has 3 antennas on it, so it's probably cell, XM, and radio. They probably all get their wireless signals through this one chip. I don't care about XM, and honestly, I don't care about radio either. I never use it. So it's a little unfortunate. It may have side effects. I expect side effects in that regard. And so we're back in the car, and we still have radio. Saw all these activities through. So I can't tell how great the connection is. I don't really listen to it, so I don't know any of the other stations I have. Maybe diminished. I don't know that yet. Everything else seems to be okay. That's the only thing I really care about. I should probably check my Bluetooth. I'm gonna hook that up now. Hold on. All right, so the Bluetooth connection works. That's not a problem. And then the only other thing to check is we'll go to our Wi-Fi hotspot again. And we're not showing anything. Let me go back to media. We'll turn that off. Go back to apps. We'll go to the Wi-Fi hotspot and no device. It's not showing anything about, the 4G signal up here. So this has handled it gracefully, that the wireless card is not installed. It's just not found, and the whole head unit is still working fine. And that is the end of any data exfiltration, remote commands, tracking, any of that. Out the window. The only thing I don't know about is if the radio is still functioning. I mean, it is functioning, but I just don't know if it has the same signal levels. I would imagine it does, because that's not really over the wireless card. That's just a separate antenna, separate thing, usually. And the radio tuner was probably that single black wire that went into the lower processing unit on the baseboard that's attached to the screen. So I'm sure that little wireless card that I pulled out is a pricey little thing. I'm going to hold on to it, of course, in case I ever need to reinstall it or anything. But it looks like there are no consequences, really, of doing this, and I got what I wanted. So I don't think I'm going to have to snoop or probe any farther. That feels much better. I've wanted to do this for a while. A note to the car manufacturers who are doing these things, like the assist and SOS buttons and stuff like that. I know that some people do want those kinds of things. But there's other people who really just don't have a lot of trust, might be a little cynical, and, I personally don't trust technology and don't think things should be exposed any more than they have to. After having worked 15 years in computer security proper, I've just seen too much, and I don't want my car to have even the chance of remote exploitability or, tracking or anything like that. There was actually a shareholder call from Ford years ago where he said, well, we know when you're speeding because it's hooked to GPS and it's hooked to the nav system, and they could exfiltrate that data if they wanted to. We don't know what they're doing. They have zero accountability to us. It would be a scandal if people found out they were doing stuff like that, but if there was enough profit in it in this day and age, that's a business model. So it's just unacceptable that they're putting these kinds of features in cars, I say. And at least right now, we can do something about it. So we did, and I feel better. Thanks.